All right, come on in, have a place to sit. Look at this. Today, this side is more full than that side. That almost never happens. That's apropos of nothing. I just thought I should mention it. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Golden Gate Center for Spiritual Living. Welcome to those of you who are with us this morning online. I'm Reverend Mary Murray Shelton. I'm the community spiritual leader here, and I am delighted to welcome all of you on this first Sunday in July. So the way that we begin together is by making each other welcome. So I'm going to invite you now to stand up, walk around, introduce yourself to anybody that you don't know, say hello to people you haven't seen for a while, and just generally fill the room with welcome. And those of you at home, do the same for yourself. Give yourselves a hug. Do whatever you can do right now to know that you are welcome here. And in just a moment, everybody will come back and we will prepare for our first song. Morning. All right. Go ahead and find your seats. Welcome, welcome. It's a beautiful day, and it's not going to be 1,000,000 degrees here in Corte Madera, which is a lovely thing. Yes, I am sure. It was 120 something in Death Valley yesterday. Higher than ever before, at least in terms of record keeping. Anyway, beyond all that, we have Daniel Nahmod back again with us this morning via video. And Daniel has sold over 110,000 CDs, probably more than that by now. He has, his music has appeared on Saturday Night Live, The Voice, American Idol, the Super Bowl, and the Today Show. So this fellow's been around. He's been doing music for quite a while, which is interesting, growing up in a family with lawyers all around him who expected him to be some kind of not artist for sure. So anyway, Daniel is taking us in this morning, so please stand for the opening song right now. And it's called I'm Reaching Out, and we have sung this before.
Hello, my friends at Golden Gate. It's Daniel here. Happy belated July 4th. And you know what, while we're at it, happy belated birthday to me. Celebrating this week. Let's begin this morning with a song to sing. I haven't sung this with you in a little while. Hope you enjoy it. It's called I'm Reaching Out. Ready? Here we go. I'm reaching out to feel the infinite. I'm reaching out to know the divine. I'm reaching out to feel the infinite. Yeah, forever is already mine. This morning's about freedom. I'm reaching out to feel the infinite. I'm reaching out to know the divine. I'm reaching out to feel the infinite. Yeah, forever is already mine. I'm already there. I'm already home. I'm already safe in my eternal soul. I'm already there. I'm already home. I'm already safe in my eternal soul. going deep. Here we go. I'm going deep to feel the infinite. I'm going deep to know the divine. I'm going deep to feel the infinite. Yeah, forever is already. I'm already there. I'm already there. I'm already home. I'm already safe in my eternal soul. I'm already there. I'm already home. I'm already safe in my eternal soul. Rising up. I'm rising up to feel the infinite. I'm rising up to know the divine. I'm rising up to feel the infinite. Yeah, forever is already mine. I'm already there. I'm already home. I'm already safe in my eternal soul. I'm already there. I'm already home. I'm already safe in my eternal. Sing it again. I'm already there. I'm already home. I'm already safe in my eternal soul. I'm already there. I'm already home. I'm already safe in my eternal soul. Nice job. Thanks.
Very nice job, everybody. Thank you. So now, having greeted each other and done our opening song, and by the way, you sounded wonderful this morning, this is our time now to center and turn within together as a community. And so as we do that, I'm going to invite our morning prayer practitioner, Lori Greer, up to do the opening for us.
Turning within, I recognize and remember there is only one life, one infinite, endless life, no limits, just never-ending unfoldment. And everything that is a part of that. All of it an expression, a creation of the one life, of the one source that is back of everything we see, touch, feel, and know, behind every experience, behind all form, the seen and the unseen. There is only one infinite life. It is the life of God that expresses through all creation, through all people, experiences, forms, through the sky, through the stars, through the trees and the waves of the ocean, through the beach, through every grain of sand. The one infinite life, forever unfolding. And everything is contained within that life. Everything is a part of it. There is no separation. There is nothing between me and it. I am a part of it like the water in the sea, like a drop of water in the ocean. I am a part of the one life. And so I speak my word for each and every one here, each and every one within the range of my voice and beyond, because this is the truth of being. We are all connected. There is nothing between us. We are that one life expressing, that one life that is God expressing in all of the ways that we show up in life, in everything we do, in every relationship, in our work, in our play, in our finances, in our creative expression of art and song and love. All of it is God. And so knowing that that one life is living and expressing through all, I make my claim and accept for each one a divine opening in consciousness that allows for the release of anything that is not aligned with the greater good that God has for each one. I release and let go of any ties that bind, any sense of limitation, anything that appears to be out of order, knowing that there is only divine order. All is truly well in God life, the life of God, whole, perfect, and complete. And so I am that wholeness. I am that perfection. Each one is that. And so as we align in consciousness with the knowing of this as the truth, we are free, we are available, we open to a greater idea that wants to be expressed through us. Some divine unfolding of which we are unaware at this moment, but knowing it is all God, we know it is all good. And so I just accept for each one of us the perfect words spoken here today by Reverend Mary, the perfect connections made in fellowship, the perfect day before us when we know it is all God. And so I give thanks for knowing that this word, this spoken word, has power. And as I release it into the law, that immutable law that always responds and is always active, I let it go and I let it be done, knowing it is complete in the mind of God. And so it is.
And so it is. Thank you, Lori.
It isn't like I've always wondered what I was made of, or is this really me? I've only recently discovered I've always stood in the shadows of expectations of me. Well, now that I see there's no judge, there's no jury. Now that I know I can take my own road, I feel a freedom that I have never known. It's about unbecoming what I never was. It's about unlearning what was never true. It's about unbelieving all the lies that I've been told. Unbecoming is the story of my soul. Everybody's name is given. Nobody asks us who we really are. But after so many years of living, you wouldn't think the answer would still feel so far. I'm slow, I'm smart, I'm accounting, I'm art, I'm left brain or right, I'm a morning person or night. Well, maybe it's time to step outside those lines and see who I find. 'Cause it's about unbecoming what I never was. It's about unlearning what was never true. It's about unbelieving all the lies that I've been told. Unbecoming is the story of my soul. The scariest thing is offending, disappointing everyone's vision of who I should be. But the only way home is to fly on my own till I know, till I see. It's about unbecoming what I never was. It's about unlearning what was never true. It's about unbelieving all the lies that I've been told. Unbecoming is the story of my soul. Unbecoming is coming home.
Thank you, Daniel. Well, hello there. There we go. All right, so here we are at the first Sunday of July, and I'm wondering, have you ever been a little self-righteous? Have you ever been a little pompous? Ever talked down to anybody and then regretted it later? A Department of Water Resources representative stopped at a Texas ranch to talk with the old rancher, and he announced to the rancher, "I need to inspect this ranch for your water allocation." And the rancher said, "Okay, go ahead, but don't go in that field over there." And the water representative said, "Mister, I have the authority of the federal government of the United States with me. You see this card? This means I'm allowed to go wherever I wish on any agricultural land. No questions asked or answered. Have I made myself clear? Do you understand?" The rancher nodded politely and went on with his chores. A little later, the rancher heard a loud scream and saw the water resources rep running for his life with the rancher's bull close behind him and gaining on the man with every step. And the rep was clearly terrified. So the old rancher immediately threw down his tools, ran to the fence, and yelled to the man at the top of his lungs, "Your card! Show him your card!" So we're talking this month of July about the path of freedom. And, you know, it's Independence Day month. And so talking about freedom makes sense. But today, I want to talk about claiming our inner freedom. Because we can get hung up on our inner freedom, or we can get bound by the lack of inner freedom that we allow ourselves, no matter what our outer circumstances are. So it's really possible to feel locked down and imprisoned when you have complete freedom in your life, more or less, but just not from yourself. Are you with me here? So on the inside, we can be critical, demanding, unforgiving, unyielding, and we can make our lives smaller and smaller. No matter what they look like on the outside, they become smaller and smaller on the inside because less and less is actually acceptable to us. Less and less is actually something that we allow ourselves to approve of or join in with. And so the more we put other people down or judge them or exclude them or leave them out, the smaller our world becomes and the less we will allow ourselves as well. So we're talking today about finding and claiming freedom on the inside. This is different from freedom on the outside, of course. Writer Carroll said, "No matter how bleak or menacing a situation may appear, it does not entirely own us. It can't take away our freedom to respond, our power to take action." So these folks are practicing Tai Chi. It is a moving meditation that's very smooth, and the intention is to balance all the parts of the body. It's like a martial art, but it's not used for fighting because it's very slowed down. It's really for the process of becoming one with our body, with our breath, with the earth, with our movement and flow. And it's known to improve balance, too. That is a way of claiming inner freedom. So it doesn't always have to be something like sitting down to meditate or doing a prayer. Sometimes it's moving. Sometimes it's interacting with somebody else. What are the avenues that we can use to claim this inner freedom? This fellow, I don't know who he is, but Dieter F. Uchtdorf said this very wise thing. It's your reaction to adversity, not adversity itself, that determines how your life story will develop. That is so huge and so true. It's our reactions that determine our experience, not actually what happens. So if someone tells us, he says, we're all given our names, nobody asks us who we are. That's not always true in every case all over the world, but it is true, in the Western world that we are named. We have to have a name before we leave the hospital. They won't send you away as baby girl Murray. You have to have a name. And the name that's given to you may end up suiting you very well, or you may adjust it as you get older because it doesn't seem to fit you anymore. We know in the Bible that when people's lives changed dramatically, they were given new names. We know that in some Native American traditions, in some indigenous traditions, when people go through some kind of a transformation, whether it be adolescence or into shamanism, that when they emerge, they're often given a new name because they have a new role, a new identity in relationship to their life as it was and the life going forward and the life of their community. So we have a choice always about how we're going to respond to anything that happens to us. And I've said this before, but it was such a revelation to me the first time I heard it, and also so baffling that I feel like saying it often is probably a good thing. And that is that we don't have to feel a particular way just because somebody expects us to, or because that's what society does when that happens. I'm always aware of American movies, which is mostly what I see, when somebody is confronted with an uncomfortable truth that has been withheld from them for some reason. Somebody kept it a secret and they finally confess. You know what the reaction always is? Anger and storming out. Always. Every time. That's what the movies reaffirm for us over and over again. That if something is revealed to you that you didn't know before, the natural reaction is to be enraged that somebody kept a secret from you and to stomp off and have no more conversation with them. Do you know, European movies don't always do that. Sometimes people respond differently than that. And it just reminds me that we have a choice. That's one of the things about claiming inner freedom. Do I choose to get upset, worried, anxious, concerned, flustered about this in this moment, or do I really have to do that? That may be my custom. I may be used to doing that. It might be my habit. I might have ingrained that in myself, thinking that that was the appropriate way to respond, but maybe not. Maybe I could make another choice. Maybe I could be with something without freaking out over it. Maybe I could be in the conversation longer without reacting with some kind of offense. You know, I mentioned sometimes too that Terry Cole Whitaker's mother used to say, things to her. Reverend Dr. Terry Cole Whitaker, after she was an adult, her mother would sometimes say things to her that were not very nice. And Terry never took them personally until her mother, in frustration, said to her once, "I can't insult you." True, because the reaction, the response, the inner response is a choice. Now that amazed me when I discovered or was told that that was a choice, that I didn't have to feel guilty about making a mistake. I could just recognize it as a mistake and do what I could to repair it and apologize to anybody that it had inconvenienced. But I was not required to feel bad about that. The Dalai Lama, Mahatma Gandhi said, "Freedom is not worth having if it does not include the freedom to make mistakes." There's a scene in the movie about Gandhi where all these people have come for a march to the sea about the rationing of salt and the selling of salt. They were going to go down to the water, to the beach, where the sand was full of salt. They were going to go down and they were going to collect the salt and they were going to have this big demonstration. And he called it off. But the people were all already around. And I think it was Nehru, somebody who was close to him, who was there, said, you can't call it off. Everybody's here. I mean, what are they going to think? What is it going to look like? What is the press going to say? What are we going to do with all these people? And Gandhi said, "My commitment is to truth, not consistency." He should have felt worried, upset, sad, guilty, ashamed, embarrassed. No, he shouldn't. He made a choice in that moment that this is the way forward, and that would not be, even though he had to make that choice at the last moment. So we always have a choice. Now, how do we remember that we have a choice in the moment when it's upsetting? Well, we have to practice. So the next time you find yourself feeling embarrassed, for example, pick something, smaller. The next time you feel a little embarrassed about something, see if you can notice what it would be like to not be embarrassed about that, to let yourself relax, to let yourself off the hook. What might that feel like to be able to do that? Practicing allows us to get used to the idea that we have a choice and to remember it in the moment when we need to make that choice so that we can make a better decision about what it's time to do or how to respond. Our boundaries then really matter, not only on the outside, but also on the inside. So on the outside, we have whatever kinds of boundaries we have that make us feel safer, that allow us to feel protected, secure, defended. You might have a camera, one of those ring type cameras outside your home so you can see who's on your front porch, or so that you can monitor your home when you're away from it. You might have grown up someplace where people never lock their doors, but you find that wherever you are in your life now, you need to lock your door. Those things we do out of a sense of prudence and self-care, depending on where we are and what we feel is necessary. Now, it is possible to go over the top. If you're not a spy somebody's looking for, you probably don't need to have bodyguards around your house. You probably don't need to have attack animals. It is possible to go too far, to get paranoid about all of that, and the same is true with our inner boundaries. Now, we need to have reasonable inner boundaries. It's not okay to become the doormat of the week and let people walk all over us. We don't need to do that. We can forgive people their offenses, their trespasses, their sins, whatever you want to call it. We can forgive them, but that doesn't mean we lay down and let them repeat that process again. So it's okay to have a boundary, like to communicate. I'm not comfortable with that. That's not okay with me. Or just no. It's okay to say, no, I don't want to do that. I remember in the series Friends, there's a time that the fellas all invite Phoebe to come with them to do some task, and she says, "Oh, I really wish I could, but I don't want to." And I thought that was such a good response. It was honest, like, it would be good, but I don't want to. Just no, I don't want to. And she never communicated that with any sense of guilt. And the guys would always kind of, that's just Phoebe. Because anybody else would have made excuses or told a story. And Phoebe just said, "No, I don't want to." So the boundaries that we have on the inside are also important. It's important for us to know what we value so that when we have a decision to make about something, we can be, like Gandhi, in alignment with what we value, even if it's not what somebody else is pressing us to do or what they want, or even tell us that they need. If it is out of alignment with us, then we need to honor that inner boundary. But we also need to know when we're shutting down and holding other people out. Sometimes when another person cries, our intention to comfort them is really to get them to stop crying so that we don't feel so uncomfortable. Do you know what I mean? And so we want to be, or at least I know I want to be, aware of that so that when that impulse comes to, grab that person, maybe instead what I do is just touch them on the knee and say, "I'm here." And let them cry. Because sometimes that's exactly what we need to do. We don't need to be stopped from feeling. We need to be witnessed. We need to be supported in the feeling. And so those of us that are observing or present when we're uncomfortable, then it's useful for us to take a breath and know that this tearfulness is not going to hurt us. We don't have to try and stop it like somebody might have done with us. When we look at adversity from a place of having a choice about how to respond to it, that gives us amazing inner freedom, no matter what the outer circumstances may be like or what we might be experiencing. This Japanese poet and samurai, Mizuta Masahide, said, "My barn having burned down, I can now see the moon." This is taking that adversity and looking for the good. When I first came into Science of Mind, we used to have bumper stickers. Some of you may remember these. They said, "Look for the good and praise it." Because what we put our attention on grows, it expands, it increases. This is true no matter what the adversity is that we're facing or how scared we are about it or how uncomfortable it makes us. Sometimes it's a very good thing we're facing, but it makes us extremely nervous, agitated, anxious. Nelson Mandela said, "Do not judge me by my success. Judge me by how many times I fell down and got back up again." How many times I fell down. Recognize that success looks like this big shiny thing that somebody else has and we want. But to get to that success, he had to be willing to fail a lot. Tony Robbins, I think it was, said something about to become successful, you need to fail a lot. And many sports figures who have been stellar, legendary even, if you look at their record, they failed pretty much as they succeeded. They just succeeded more than most people. And so they became icons, but they had to be willing to go through the experience that allowed them to learn, to practice, to grow. Is this making sense? So our inner defenses become thoughts and emotions that can also attack us, right? With that kind of condemnation. And whether we're inwardly shoving somebody else away or we're beating up on ourselves, what we're doing is we're creating that sense of separation and aloneness from the whole. that we don't belong, that we're not a part of. And we may be the only people who think that. The rest of the community, it never occurs to them that we don't feel like we belong or we don't think that we're part of, because it's our inner imprisonment we're experiencing. It's not observable necessarily to others, but it may show up in our behavior, which often looks like pushing somebody away, either being rude to them or being cold or being withdrawn or not having time for them, whatever it might be. So boundaries, both inner and outer, are important, but also we want to let them serve us rather than having them master us and drag us around. Our inner boundaries, if they're used in the right way, can free us from those thoughts and emotions that cause a sense of separation and condemnation and difference. We can catch ourselves. I sometimes hear myself grumbling about something in my head. And then another part of me goes, that's not really true. That's not really true. What's actually true is this. And yeah, I have to admit, that's actually more true than what I'm grumbling about. Yeah. So when that happens, then I have to make a choice. How much do I want to hang on to my grudge or my complaint? How much do I want to hang on to that as compared to letting it go? You know, Daniel said in this, in one of his songs, that unbecoming is the story of my soul. That was his line. I think the story of my soul or my life is always letting go. Let go. Let go. That's always it for me. Maybe for some of you as well. And what I recognize is that life changes. Everything changes. And so if I'm having difficulty with somebody, I sometimes have somebody come to me who says, you know, my son or daughter is mad at me because of XYZ, or is mad at me, I don't know why. I have a niece right now who's mad at most of us, and lots of us don't know why. It happens, but life is long. This is what I tell people. This is what I tell people when their teenagers become insane with testosterone or estrogen poisoning, depending on their particular makeup, right? That life is long, which means things change. And this person is going to grow up, or this person is going to have an experience that may bring them back around. So try to keep your heart open for that, even though it may be difficult or painful or a challenge. Every time you feel yourself closing up, just see if you can relax into an open heart. Doesn't mean you have to do anything to try and reach them, because maybe that isn't acceptable. Maybe that wouldn't be welcome. Maybe that would even be harmful to them at that point. So it could be important to just keep your heart open, to make space for them always to find their way back to you, because often, not always, but often they do. They do. So we want to remove the thinking that creates separation for us. I can remember Byron Katie saying, because she had a terrible drinking problem herself, after she went through the transformation that kind of woke her up, her daughter was apparently having a drinking problem. And she said she was sitting up late one night worrying about her daughter because it was late and she still hadn't come home, and she knew her daughter was probably out drinking and she could get into an accident if she was driving and all of that. And all of a sudden she caught herself and she said, all that's happening, all that's really happening that I know in this moment is a loving mother is sitting in this chair, this very comfortable chair, waiting for her beloved daughter to come home. That's all that's really true in this moment. There's no other information about anything else. And I believe her daughter did make it home safely, but that wasn't the point of the story. The point of the story was the choice in the moment to not go into that worry, that negativity, that fear, and draw more and more of it into her own experience. Shifting can be powerful. That's a way that we claim our inner freedom. You know, there's more than one way to feel imprisoned. You can be in prison and feel free. There's a story about Mahatma Gandhi that when his jailer brought him a uniform as a prisoner that was filled with lice, he thanked him. I don't quite know what his reasoning and thought process was about that, but it amazes me. It amazes me that Nelson Mandela could spend that many years in prison and come out wanting to talk about reconciliation rather than revenge or vengeance. It amazes me that Viktor Frankl experienced all of what he did in the concentration camps and came out as someone who wanted to help people heal rather than locked into bitterness and condemnation. Viktor Frankl said, "We who lived in concentration camps can remember the men who walked through the huts comforting others, giving away their last piece of bread. They may have been few in number, but they offer sufficient proof that everything can be taken from a man but one thing, the last of the human freedoms, to choose one's attitude in any given set of circumstances, to choose one's own way." There is nothing that says that any one of us has to react in a particular way, even though it's what we've seen modeled or it's what we've always done. We still have a choice. And outer limitations, they can't stop the inner life, but inner limitations, they can break us. The inner limitations, the thoughts, the emotions, the prejudices, those can break us. They can break us as individuals. They can break us as communities or countries. Ernest Holmes said, "In our ignorance of the truth, we have missed the highest power we possess. And so great is this power, so complete is our freedom in it, so absolute the domain of law through it, that the misuse of this power has brought upon us the very conditions from which we suffer. We are bound because we are first free. The power which appears to bind us is the only power in the universe which can free us." Yesterday, when I was preparing this talk, I came across this text that I have that is a portion, it's an excerpt, from the 4th of July talk that Ernest Holmes gave at the Wiltern Theater in Los Angeles in 1937. See if this doesn't sound applicable to you. This is about 5 minutes long, so bear with me, okay? Ever since the dawn of civilization, ever since the first humans began to grasp the significant fact that they were individual beings in a universe that seemed to be more or less hostile to them, the entire search of the human mind, its whole endeavor, has been to get free from evil, from bondage, and the shackles of lack, want, fear, superstition, uncertainty, pain, disease, poverty, and fear of the hereafter. And because of this, human systems exist. Organized philosophies spring up, sciences develop, educational systems are conducted, collective security is sought after, and religions are formulated to allay the fear of humankind relative to the soul. The great demand in the world today is for a sense of security and liberty. But we must be very certain that we do not swap one image of bondage for another. I've read a large part of the religious and philosophic history of the world, and I've noticed that almost invariably, when the world traded one kind of religion for another, it didn't get a good deal. The Pilgrim Fathers who came to the shores of New England came to worship God in their own way. But the moment they got there, everybody in the colony worshiped God in the way the strongest-minded members of the colony decided was the way to worship God. That was not freedom. Even in our newer religions of the last 75 or 100 years, now remember he's saying this in 1937, very frequently we meet people who say they have now found the truth. And then, unfortunately, a large majority of them disclose that they merely have found an idea they liked and called it the truth because they were egotistical, self-conscious, self-righteous people with an attitude of condemnation toward others. That is not the truth. In studying one system of thought after another that has transpired in the last 7,000 years of human history, I have noted how extremely difficult it is for the human mind to conceive liberty without license, without egotism. And we can only give birth to freedom when we have conceived liberty. True freedom, true liberty, has something cosmic behind it. If the time has come that modern science has proved that we cannot move a piece of paper without changing the balance of the entire physical universe, if we have come to the place where we know that the stuff of which our physical bodies is made is the same stuff of which the planets are made, if we have come to the place where there is such a profound unity maintained that physicists believe there is no such thing as a disunity in the physical world, then we can easily see what the great spiritual leaders of the ages meant when they told us of that greater unity in which we all live and move and have our being. And that the idea of freedom itself is tied up with the true concept of the unity of good. If our nature is one, if God is one, and we know that God must be one, for the universe cannot be divided against itself, then we are all tied into an indivisible unity. We shall have to get back to this unity to find the meaning of freedom. Nothing in any part of this cosmic world could be considered freedom that would destroy the liberty of another part of it. That would be self-destruction, would it not? As Jesus pointed out 2,000 years ago, that would be a kingdom divided against itself. The kingdom of God is one kingdom. So we know that true liberty must spring from true unity. We're bound into a supreme unity. We're tied into an immutable and irrevocable law of cause and effect. That is unity moving into action. Cause and effect is something that happens as a result of the use of unity. Consequently, we are one even while we are many. And since each one of us is a part of the whole, if we seek to destroy each other, we only ultimately hurt ourselves. That is the great lesson of life. Freedom, then, will only come in such degree as we no longer do anything that hurts anyone. But that does not mean we have to become spiritual or intellectual doormats. I do not believe in that. Nothing in my belief causes me to feel that God or the creative principle wants me to suffer, for myself or anyone else. I do it. I have always done it. Perhaps I always shall in this world, but I know that it is wrong. How can the Supreme Being desire my suffering without imposing that suffering? And what kind of universe has a God who suffers and imposes suffering in a changeless reality? The whole theology and religious reaction of people who believe that arises out of morbidity and fear and superstition and nothing else. Well, it is not so, and still we suffer. Why? Because we do not understand. We might say that the world suffered in darkness until somebody found electricity. It suffered crawling around on the face of the earth until technology was developed so we could fly and drive. It suffers limitation, not because the infinite imposes limitation, but because the world does not understand its freedom. And when it begins to develop its freedom, seldom does it do it directly. It generally creates a new bondage. When we kill the old devil, we're very likely to give birth to a new and more subtle one. War is more to be feared than ever before, because we have more knowledge without more wisdom. And final freedom will only come as it is tied to divine wisdom. What is divine wisdom? I'm no prophet, but I would suggest that divine wisdom must be as simple and profound as this. Jesus said, "The kingdom of God cannot be divided against itself." I think that is all there is to divine wisdom. The kingdom of God cannot and will not be divided. So long as I seek to hurt, I will be hurt. We desire freedom. We do not like evil. We do not like pain. We do not like poverty. We do not like unhappiness. Why should we? None of us likes to go to bed and worry all night and get up tired in the morning. God does not impose it on us. Why do we do it? Because we sense freedom, we sense liberty, we sense God. Yet out here in the objective world, we experience limitation. And the argument is between what we feel ought to take place and what we see and the world experiences. It seems as though we are two people, one that experiences evil and one that knows there should be no evil. The evolution of freedom in the human mind is a slow process. Many movements in the world that claim to be seeking liberty only create new kinds of bondage. We should be aware of them. They are born out of the idea of depression. They are born out of the spirit of bondage. If we want freedom, we must understand that freedom can never come by the imposition of will of the minority over the majority. It is born finally and only in such degree as some system is devised whereby individuals are allowed complete freedom so long as they do not, in their freedom, impose bondage on someone else. I believe that the true spirit of democracy is a spiritual conception where there is freedom, liberty without license, and a flexibility that makes evolution possible on the foundation of freedom. As we enter into the spirit of the meaning of Independence Day, the day when liberty symbolically was conceived, the day when freedom objectively in our country was announced, we should think of it not merely as a political system or a form of government, but we should think of it as a spiritual conception, an idea in the divine mind itself, taking form in human experience. We should learn to love that liberty. And in loving the idea, we should learn to tenderly and prayerfully handle the embodiment of that idea and nourish it always to greater strength. We should really conceive again the great spiritual conception of that rugged man of God who said that government of the people, by the people, and for the people shall not perish from the earth. That is our founder, Ernest Holmes, in 1937, before the United States joined the war with the Allies against the Nazis and the fascists. That's all I need to say about that. It seems like quite an amazing talk to me, and that was only a little part of it. So I'm going to leave us with this, that opposing is not the way to go. Claiming what we want is the way to go. Standing for it, loving it, praying for more of it, welcoming it into our experience, and choosing not to react with anger and fear, but instead with a sense of greater openness to the divine idea in the mind of God, the vision of a world that works for everyone. For everyone. And so it is. Namaste. Thank you. Thank you. All right, so we're going to take this now within in prayer. As we turn within right now, I recognize and know that there is one, no exceptions. One presence, one power, one mind, one breath, one being. And this beingness enlivens and manifests everywhere, through everything and everyone, all the time, without exception, which means it is manifesting right here and right now, in this very moment, as me, as each one of us. And that although we appear to be separate, we are not. We are of the one. Knowing this truth, we claim the highest, most wonderful good for every soul on this planet. For every person, for every place, for every creature, for everything is a part of the one. And this one is whole, undivided. It is harmony and peace. It is not divided against itself. It is cooperating in fullness with itself, bringing forward its divine ideas into manifestation. And this is each one of us. This is the sound of the cars going by. This is the temperature of the air. This is the sunlight. The divine presence is making itself known, and I am inviting it in. On behalf of all of us, I am inviting this great wholeness to come into our awareness, in our bodies, in our thinking, in our choices, in our remembering our choices and choosing again and again. I'm grateful to remember that this is the real truth, no matter what the appearances may be. I'm grateful to remember that the creative law always is awake and active, doing what it does, that it knows how and does without question. I celebrate that this truth is known in minds, and I know that it is known in all minds, even those that are not aware of that knowing consciously yet. Because this is true, I claim goodness in my life, in my week, in my inner freedom. And what I claim for myself, I claim for each and all of us. This is the truth of who we are. I know it. I claim it. I release everything unlike that truth into its native nothingness. And I allow the fullness of the light to keep reminding me of who we are and who I am. So I release this prayer into the creative law of mind and spirit, and I release it into the divine presence, into the heart of God, into the great mystery where it always has been the truth, is the truth now, always will be the truth. So I let it go and I let it be. And together we say, and so it is. Yes. Please stand and join me for the morning affirmation. No matter what is happening in my life and in my world, how I think and act is my choice. No one can make me feel or think differently than I choose. I value this sacred freedom, and so it is. Thank you. You may be seated. And I'd like to invite the ushers to come forward now as we prepare to receive today's offering. You know, if you're online and you'd like to make a donation to Golden Gate, we would love that. You can do that by texting the amount you want to donate to the number on the screen and then just following the directions. For all those of us here, of course, you can do that, or you can make your offering any way that you wish. And some of you I know give on auto pay, auto giving, and it's already done. That's fine. If this is your first Sunday with us here, your presence here is your gift. When we do the blessing, we bless not only the gifts in the room, we bless ourselves because we are the gift. We bless all that has been given to Golden Gate this week and what we send out into the world through our gift and through our presence. So we do that by saying this affirmation of giving together. I'm going to invite you to place your gift, if you're bringing one today, and either way, to hold your hands over your heart and say this with me. This gift I give is God in action. I now send it forth to bless and to prosper. I know that everywhere it goes, it is creating a world living in love, one heart and one thought at a time. And so it is. Please go ahead.
As best I can, my heart is an open heart. As best I can, I let myself be human. I try to lighten up life's load, whether a tear or laughter flows, as best I can. Oh yeah, as best I can. Best I can. My home is a kindness home. Like Abraham, where a stranger's always welcome. If they're hungry, then they eat. If they're lonely, they've got me. Best I can. Oh yeah, as best I can. Oh, what good can one man do? I'm just trying to find out. But I can only give what I've decided I'm about, as best I can. My world is a peaceful world, where all nations stand shoulder to shoulder, where we are equal before God. We are neighbors, one and all, as best I can. Best I can. Where we are children of one God. We are neighbors after all, as best I can. Best I can. Oh, I will do the best I can. Best I can.
So on behalf of Golden Gate Center for Spiritual Living, all of us here accept this offering with great gratitude. And we send it out in the world to carry a message. Claim your inner freedom now. And so it is. And if you are here for the very first time this morning, I want to direct your attention to the table back here. This is our welcome table. We have all sorts of handouts on it. You're welcome to take anything that you like back there. And also, there are welcome packets. Please take one of those and take out the blue card. If you fill it out and give it to Amanda back at the table here, she's going to give you a little book of affirmations. They are applicable to all kinds of moments of challenge in our lives, and they're easy to carry around with you. That is our thank you gift to you, and also our invitation to you to come back and be with us often in the future. Also, I want to thank everybody that was involved in setting up and bringing everything forward for us to have a wonderful morning. Let's just applaud the whole bunch. Well done, everybody. Thank you so much. Also, I want to especially thank our practitioners who are on duty at the back of the room, our prayer practitioners. They're there specifically to hold the high watch for all of us, to help us all who are in service do our best, and to help all of us together open our minds and hearts to whatever the Infinite wants to deliver as the message today. So I want to thank them. They just do this spontaneously. We don't have a schedule for it. Guess what? It's July. That means we get to sing happy birthday to people who are having their birthdays in July. And a couple little birds told me it is Joe Hughes' birthday today, actually. So if you have a July birthday, would you please stand? And we're also singing this to Reverend Carol in England, whose birthday was the 6th. So if your birthday is in July, please stand. Is it Coco's birthday in July? Ah, very good. All right. So let's sing happy birthday to our folks. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear July. Happy birthday to you. Sure. Can I say something real quick?
Thank you. Good morning. I've been a very happy, supported, and loved member since 1991 of the Golden Gate Center for Spiritual Living. There is no way that I would be illuminated in the level that I am without this practice and this support and this kindness. I also share my birthday with Ringo Starr. Thank you, the beat goes on, and Michelle Kwan. So I do claim today good, happy, forward beats, fluid movement, and power. Thank you, thank you.
Happy birthday. All right. And also, of course, I want to let you know, in case you didn't know, that our beloved Stan Stefansek made his transition a week ago on Friday. Mariana was here for a little while this morning, but what she said to me was, it was hard to be here because there was so much love in the room. She kept bursting into tears. So she didn't stay. I do want to let you know that it says in your bulletin this morning, when it gives the address for sending cards and things, it says Belvedere. That's wrong. It's San Rafael, as it says up on the screen. So if you want to send her a card or flowers or something else, make sure that you get San Rafael. The zip code is right, but it's San Rafael, not Belvedere. There will be a celebration of life for Stan at Villa Marin on August 9th. That's a Saturday, I believe, at 2 o'clock in the afternoon in the auditorium. Let Mariana know if you want to attend because it has limited seating. We're going to miss him. Okay, sacred travel. How many of you like sacred travel, just in general? Or like the idea of sacred travel? All right. Well, we're in conversation with Spirit Tours about doing a trip, a Golden Gate trip, to one of these places. And so far, the people that have talked to me about it have landed on Bali and Bhutan as the places they want to vote for. So if you would like to participate, or you think you might be interested in getting more information, this would not be until 2025, probably in the spring or fall, depending on where we go. Just sign up on the interest list. It's not a commitment to do anything. It's just so we can contact you and let you know when we're doing the Zoom meeting with Reverend Karen Fry about wherever we've decided to go and what all is entailed in that. So if that piques your interest at all, sign up so that you can find out more about it. We'd love to do that. And that's back on the events table, that sign-up sheet. Also, I want to remind you, we are inviting into our home, into our hearts, onto our staff, into our Sunday morning experience, a new music director. We don't know who they are yet. I'm not sure they know who they are yet. So, a few weeks ago, you all received a copy, what do I do with it here, of the job description for the music director, right? And I don't know if there are more on the table back there or not, but what we're encouraging you to do, this is now posted on LinkedIn, it's posted on Facebook, it's on our website. If you look under the About Us musicians, you'll find it there. People can download the description from there. Please take it out into the world and post it any place there are musicians. Hand it to musicians you know. Mail it to music departments you know. Just get the word out, because we really want to blanket the universe with the idea that we're ready, we're calling that person in, now is good, okay? All right, and also, we are looking to invite more folks onto the Sunday morning teams. You might notice recently that Paula Yu seems to always be on the Sunday team. She's not supposed to be. She's the coordinator of all the teams. But because we had been short in terms of the number of people participating, Paula has been on, Sunday after Sunday after Sunday, and we'd like to remedy that. If you volunteer to participate as one of the people on the Sunday team, it's one Sunday a month. And you come early, you greet people, you participate with the ushers at the offering, and then you help set up and take down the snacks at the end. That's the job, and it's one Sunday a month. Talk to Paula this morning, or ask anybody when they're bringing snacks out, which one is Paula, if you don't know, and find out more. We'd love to welcome you onto these teams and give her a little bit of a break. Also, we are having a town hall meeting on the last Sunday of this month, July 28th, right after the Sunday celebration. That will be about an hour. If you think you're going to die of hunger, bring a little something you can munch on, or, collect the snacks. But we're not serving food. We're just doing a general meeting. It won't be long, but we do want to give you information, and also we want to pick your brains about some things that would help us in going forward in planning. So please plan to be here on the 28th, and then the following Sunday is our annual summer potluck picnic in the park. And so we're starting right now to get your signups back here at this table, also on the events table, for two things. For number one, what you're going to bring to share with everyone, and the things are divided up into categories. And secondly, how you'll help. So there are teams that are going to help with the early setup, with the food serving, with the takedown, and with the cleanup. And you can sign up for any one of those teams. So those that are going to do the takedown and cleanup will be here a little bit longer, and it'll give you a chance to schmooze more with people from the congregation that you've been enjoying talking to. So do remember to go back and check that out this morning and put your name down a couple places. And finally, our prayer practitioners are the ones that you see on Sundays with the white stoles. They're always available to tell you more about what practitioners are, and to be available to make a private appointment with one of them if you would like to do that. But also, we have our practitioners who are on duty on any given Sunday morning at the practitioner table. Please go over there and get yourself a prayer this morning following the service. They will take you to a private area to pray with you, and then just wait there. If they're both busy, that one of them will be back shortly. We encourage that. All right, so I want to invite you now to stand and join me in the closing blessing and song. This we say together. I now walk so that whoever walks beside me dwells in the presence of God, and whoever places a hand in mine is lifted, and whoever thinks of me is illumined with God consciousness. For spirit and all people and I are one eternally, and so it is. Thanks for hanging in there with me. I know this has been a long day, or a long morning.
In addition to turning 39 and a half again this year, this past week I just did, I also had quite an adventure with my family in the month of June. I was planning on playing these for you at some point. It doesn't seem to come up in any of the 4 songs I'm doing for you today. These are actually made by the Yagua tribe in the Amazon rainforest, where my wife and Jude and I visited in the country of Peru in the month of June. We hiked up Machu Picchu and we walked through the ancient city of Cusco. We learned a million things about Incan civilization and history, had some delicious meals. It was really quite an adventure. And in fact, I'm going to be leading a tour back to Peru next June, so I'll probably talk to you all about it again, at least at some point. But in the absence of this shaker, I've got this song to do for you today. It's a pretty simple song. It repeats several times to give you a chance to get the swing of it. You'll have the words. There is one verse about 2/3 of the way through, which you can try to sing along with or just listen, and then we close up with one more time through the chorus. So here is a song called Living Love for us all to sing together to close. And thanks again for having me. Here we go. If I can heal one heart, if I can dry one tear, if I can hold one hand, make just one doubt disappear. If I can change one life, that's what I came to do. 'Cause I know that I am living love. Yes, I am living love. Sing it again, here we go. If I can heal one heart, if I can dry one tear, if I can hold one hand, make just one doubt disappear. If I can change one life, that's what I came to do. 'Cause I know that I am living love. Yes, I am living love. Good. Sing it again. Here we go. If I can heal one heart, if I can dry one tear, if I can hold one hand, make just one doubt disappear. If I can change one life, that's what I came to do. 'Cause I know that I am living love. Yes, I am living love. And here's that verse. Try as I might to find some earthly treasure to achieve, something to put my troubled mind at ease. Can't let it be. Every time I find salvation is the love in me. singing with me, and thank you for having me. See you again soon.